Hey, this is Nomad, host and creator of the Career Musician Podcast. Why do they call me Nomad? Well, I traveled the globe, spreading the joy of music one song at a time. And now I bring you wisdom, tried and true knowledge, and life experiences of my colleagues and peers in this crazy business we call music.
You're listening to the Career Musician Podcast.
And you're tuning in from where again?
Today I'm in Calgary.
What time zone is Calgary?
I think I'm one ahead. It's 12:10 here.
You still got plenty of time.
I'm gonna go through the music. I'm gonna go to the gym. I might go to a music store if there's one close by.
It's fun. I love being on the road for this part. I love my daytime adventures on the road.
Oh, so fun. That's the best part. Going in and like the random, like I feel like my feed, like yesterday I was laughing at myself because I was going through my Instagram stories and like 4 friends in a row were touring in cities I love. And so each one of them I was like, oh dude, check out this restaurant while you're there. Oh dude, have you seen the music store there? It's so good. And like this one. And then in other cities where I'm like, oh dude, what's going on there? I've never been there. Like it's fun. I feel like I've gone, my friends over the years as I've come up, I've also seen all my friends start touring and everyone's rising up and it's cool to see that. Theater run with an incredible artist, Shaheen Najafi. He is an Iranian pop star. It's crazy actually because in the US we don't know him. And then we get here and there's like an entourage of people welcoming us at the airport and all this stuff. It's wild. Such a cool world. So I got on with this artist. Originally he built his band here in the US off of someone he met in like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class or something. Like someone who was like, oh, I'm a drummer. And he's like, okay, cool, I need a player. And the guy turned out to not be 100% on it. So that's why it's important when you're building your band, you need to know that the guys are doing the job. Look for actual pros that are playing. Get recommendations from people that are doing the job, not just random people in the grocery store.
Not just people that randomly play music as a hobby.
Yep. There's a big difference. And sometimes artists don't realize, yeah, the pros cost money, but it's going to change the whole game of your show, having people that know what they're doing and can bring it to life.
Man, wake up in the morning, do that important work. That's the work that it might not be urgent. It's not going to make you money right now. And it's not like your utilities are going to be shut off if you don't do this work. But this is the important work to your future, to your goals. This is the work that matters to you as a career musician in the longevity sense, okay? Very important. So wake up in the morning at the hotel, do that kind of work first, or go do your workout, whichever you prefer. Have your coffee, have your morning routine, and then either work out after that, or if you already did your workout, then do this important work. And then after that, practice the show that you're going to be performing that night, because that way it just keeps your muscle memory ready to go. And then get psyched and get cleaned up and ready to go for lobby call, sound check, and the show. Always have your go bag, have that go bag with all the stuff you need. I can't tell you folks how many times I said, man, I'm going to do the show today, but I don't need my laptop or I don't need my iPad. I'm just going to leave that in the room. Oh my gosh. Have I regretted it every time I did. Even something simple as a cap, like my career musician cap. I'm like, nah, I'm going to leave that. I don't need that. And then I'm like, dang it, I wish I had my cap right now. These things are so important. I just can't stress enough that when you're on the road, you need to build for yourself a customized routine. The road is a beast. It'll eat you alive because there's no structure. There's no routine. There's nothing that you can latch onto for a sense of normalcy. So whenever you're out there, you gotta, you know what? This is my routine. This is my groove. And people that you're on tour with will respect it because they have their groove too. So aside from being a good hang, because it's all about being a good hang, but during the day, leading up to soundcheck and the gig, you really need to lock into some positive energy. Because number one, you want to bring your best self to the stage every night. You got to earn your gig.
Yeah, you're only as good as your last performance, your last gig. If you show up and you don't do a good job, it doesn't matter. You could have done it right 100 times. If you show up and totally mess up or don't do your job right, they're going to be looking at other people because these people at this show deserve a perfect show just as much as the last ones did.
Well said, my friend. So the reason why I say that routine is because all the stuff that you do leading up to it throughout the day is going to make sure that you show up with your best self on the stage.
Amen.
How long you been touring, Joel?
14 years. Started doing my first tours out of college.
Who told you that music touring was a thing, that you could be a professional musician? Because so many people aren't really hip to that.
Yeah, I wasn't. I grew up in a non-musical family and went to school, and it was in college where my private teacher was like, hey, if you work hard at this, you're good enough now. If you work hard, you can become a pro. You can do this for your job. And that was it. Game over. My teacher, Willie Ray.
Thanks to Willie for telling you that you could do this.
Oh, he made sure. I mean, as soon as I said, are you sure about this? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. Man, he showed, I remember we were in the music hall one time. I was flirting with this cute girl. He comes and puts his arm around me and he looks at her and he's like, he doesn't have time to talk to you. He needs to be in the practice room right now.
That's exactly what I would tell you, you bum.
We're doing a lot of transcribing, a lot of ostinato work. We had this big book of patterns. I'd work out and spend a couple hours in the practice room every day running through patterns. So that like really helped my timing, my independence. That way I could play whatever I needed to, whatever I was thinking of, I could start pulling those out. But it was a lot of just foundational building, a lot of patterns and introductions to drummers. And introduced me to like Billy Cobham and Philly Joe Jones and all these great jazz drummers.
The rudiments.
Yep, all the foundational stuff.
And then just from hanging out with you and us talking on the gig, I know you did a lot of blues work. How did that come about?
There was one artist in town who was gigging everywhere. He was touring. He played the coolest songs. And I wanted that gig. And he already had a drummer. But I was like, man, that's the coolest gig in town. I want that gig. And so I started showing up every single night to all of his shows, saying hi, hanging out, meeting the guys. And then when it came time to be for a sub, when the guy needed to break, they knew me. I was there. I knew all the songs because I'd been around, and they put me on. And eventually, over the next 6 months or so, that drummer transitioned out, and then I was touring with a killer blues artist all over the country and internationally for 3 years.
I was going to say, you told me in the past that you got your ass kicked on the blues circuit.
Man, I tell people, I'm like, the best thing you can do for yourself is get in with a band that they don't really like you that much. They don't know you. They don't care about you, but they need you. Like, you're the only guy that's available because they won't hold any punches, bro. They every night was like, you mess this up or this or fix this. Haven't you heard this guy? Listen to this. My first tour with them was 3 weeks of them jamming every blues standard down my throat because they loved the music and they didn't really like me that much, so they were fine yelling at me. It was actually the best education I could have ever had.
Wow. So that's a great growth strategy.
Oh my gosh. It was a ringer, but it was definitely one of my fastest periods of growth.
It's like that movie where they had the teacher, the drum teacher, who was so intense and he would throw cymbals at students' heads and stuff.
Whiplash.
Whiplash. Thank you. Oh, wait, speaking of movies, isn't that why because I was going to ask you next why you got into drumming, but I remember you were telling me we were having Mexican food the other day. You were like, yo, that movie did it for me. What was that movie?
Yeah, Drumline, dude, with Nick Cannon. That was like, I saw that movie, coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was like 13, 14. Saw it, took my brother's nunchucks, cut them in half, and used those as drumsticks, and that was it. I loved it.
But those are some thick drumsticks, because nunchucks aren't thin. Wow. All right. So your brother's nunchucks, and Nick Cannon drumline. Wow, that's cool.
Set me on the path there.
And originally, because I know, much like me, I did 8 years in Nashville. How many years did you do in Nashville?
Yeah, 3. I did 3.
Okay. But you're originally from where?
Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Talk about that. How did that all happen?
So my teacher told me I could do this professionally. Started working my butt off. Started touring with some great artists out of Salt Lake. And then there was a series of events that just happened all within a couple weeks of each other. I took a lesson with Thomas Pridgeon in Oakland, on tour with this blues artist, actually. We're on tour. And I was asking about how do I move my career to the next level? What do I do? Because he's such a huge drummer. And you need to move to a city where it can happen. And I'm defensive of Salt Lake. I'm like, what are you talking about? Salt Lake's a great city for music. And he goes, can you play every single day there? And I'm like, in the summer, on a good week, I can play every day. And he's like, can you play 3 times a day? And I was like, so that happened. And then another podcast I listened to where the drummer was talking about, he got picked up for an A-list tour from a bar gig he was playing. And I was like, oh, see, so you can do that. And then the bar gig turned out to be the Baked Potato, world famous club in LA. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not just a bar. Taylor Swift isn't picking her guys up in Johnny's on 2nd in Salt Lake City. They're picking their players out of LA and out of Nashville. And so, yeah, so several events happened where I was like, okay, I need to be in a big city. I must be present to win, like we talk about. And so I moved to Nashville.
And what was that first move like?
Oh, intimidating, crazy.
Right?
Are you kidding?
I remember.
You're going from the little pool to One of the biggest ones. And I remember walking down Broadway, and if you haven't, you've been, but for those who haven't, it's 5 blocks of 60 clubs. There's musicians on there's just noise coming out of every band. And it's so intimidating. It's like, how do you even how do you push into that world? It's just this brick wall of talent, and it just seems impossible. But it's not impossible. You can definitely show up, the same things I used to build in Salt Lake. It's you show up, make friends, be there, be cool, and work your butt off. And honestly, I think work harder than anyone expects you to. Because I think one of the failings of pro musicians that are really good is they can do their job without a lot of effort, because they've put that work in already, right? So if you call me for a gig for 30 songs, like, I don't have to put a ton in because I can already do that very easily. But then what happens is you get complacent, you don't prepare until maybe the last day or two, and then you put in some charts real quick and you're reading. And then there's the guy that's hungry that comes in and memorizes everything and works his butt off. And that's kind of the formula for getting in there and beating people out for their gigs, is caring more.
That's the formula for success, or as I like to say, the definition of luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. The two converge together. You're like, here's the opportunity. Oh shit, I didn't prepare. Or here's the opportunity. I'm ready. Let's go. And that's a good feeling when you show up and you're like, I did all the homework. I put in the time. Man, you feel so good about it, right?
Oh man, that's no better feeling. And there's no worse feeling than having those opportunities and not being prepared. And it's like waves. You do really good for a while, and then you get comfortable, and then you get a wake-up call and you get back up. And
that happened to me, man. I gotta say, that happened to me in the middle of my LA film scoring adventures when I moved to town in 2005. But I finally got hired by Danny Elfman to play on a film score. I played on Men in Black 3. So speaking of,
cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. Speaking of getting that complacency, at that time I had 3 rigs: an A rig, a B rig, and a C rig. The A rig was like the master big rig, like that's the one. And then the B rig was similar to the A rig, but it wasn't identical. Okay. And then the C rig was smaller, and that was for like local gigs. The A rig was set up at Chalice Studios, which is over here on Highland in Hollywood in LA. Amazing studio.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's worked there. Anyway, my A rig was set up there, and it just lived there. It stayed there because I was going in almost every day to do writing sessions. So I'm like, okay, my A rig's there. When I got the call from Elfman's team, I was like, because I had Cartage. Cartage, for those who don't know, it's just a company that you hire to pick up all your gear and move it around. That way you're not sweating your ass off when you go in to do a session. So you know that from Nashville. Anyway, I had them bring the B rig, bro. Long story short, Elfman goes, hey man, do you have a wah-wah pedal? I was like, yeah, I got a wah-wah. Do you have a Vox or a Crybaby wah-wah? And I was like, and I knew in my mind, my Crybaby and my Vox were in my A rig. Like a dummy. Bro, I had this off-the-wall, no frills, no name brand wah-wah on this rig, and it just didn't give him the sound that he was looking for. Here you have it. Oof. My ill-preparedness, my lack of being prepared cost me that. He never called me again. That was my first and last time working with Danny Elfman.
Wow, legendary Danny Elfman.
So talking about that complacency and the lack of, oh, I got this. I'm good. I should have had the foresight to either go to the store and buy the staples, or go to the other studio and pick up some of those pieces that I needed before I went into this. Because I had everything else. I had freaking 30 guitars and 3 or 4 pedal boards and 3 or 4 amps and all this stuff. But one little thing.
That hurts so bad. And we all go through waves of it, but that's now something I look for when I'm hiring musicians. Like, I put together a band for a killer, huge country artist for a festival thing. The number one thing I look for is guys that I feel like they care. The guys that have that hunger and that, yes, I care. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up. I'm going to kill it. And it's not necessarily like you can be at the A-list highest level and still have that attitude. But some people, as they move up, they start to get this attitude that things below them are like, oh yeah, I can do that. Sure. But and you fall into that, and that's the last thing I want, because I care and I need to know my guys care. Just like you, dude, you're the king of that, bro. Making sure that you better be responding to the text. You need to be answering the emails. I need to see that you're here with me. You're the king of that.
Let's talk about that, man. I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is the perfect segue into why we're doing this podcast. because we do have a fun announcement. Let's talk about your journey with me and be honest. Let's be candid about how you felt sometimes and some of the things. And what did you notice, or the requirements, the criteria for working with me and to be at a certain level?
Dude, the first thing, I remember telling my wife this coming home from some of our first few rehearsals with the artists we met working with. I remember telling her, I'm like, dude, I don't feel like secure in my position, but not in a bad way, but it was like, I need to show up and kill it. Because I remember, and it was the same thing. We'd been working, this was probably rehearsal number 9 or 10. We were rehearsing for several months. And I remember going home and I'm like, dude, I just don't feel like the gig's mine still, because I think I'd gotten complacent over a few days and I'd forgotten some tools or I left some things. And what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. If you're not going to do this kind of thing, if you're not going to show up. And I was like, freak, I've never fully earned this gig. I need to earn it every day. I need to show up and kill this every single day. And that doesn't happen. There's so many places where people don't and they get complacent. But yeah, so we started working together and bring every tool every single day. I didn't show up with some brushes or those rods, the hot rods one time. And you're like, what are you doing?
I was so mad.
Cardinal sin.
I remember, I can't stand, because a drummer is like, hold on a minute, especially if backline is provided. And here's my logic behind it. You have nothing to bring other than a stick bag. When a drummer shows up just with sticks or only one pair of sticks and not backup sticks, I'm like, what about brushes? What about blast sticks or those rods that you're talking about? Bring it. So you have to bring all your tools all the time. And as a drummer, you have to have your stick bag in addition to your cymbals, your kick pedal, and your hi-hat pedal. And how about this? Do you remember the time I asked you for mallets?
I don't. Maybe I blocked it out as a traumatic memory.
I swear to you, there was a time like I was like, no, Joel, I need a big cymbal wash. And you did it. And I was like, no, that's too hard. I was like, can you break out your mallets and try those? And you were like, I was like, you don't have mallets? You were like, no, I do. They're just at home. I was like, oh.
I think I remember that. I always carry them in my bag. It was just one time, but that's all it takes. That's all it takes. You got to earn your gig every time.
That's all it takes. But, what is the last thing that you noticed working with me that I was a real stickler about? I think I know what it's going to be. Drum roll.
Oh, responding to emails, responding to communication.
Any kind of communication and correspondence.
And I pass that on to my bands, dude.
Yeah, talk about it, man. Come on. Let's hear it.
Bro, I'm like, I will stop hiring people if I don't get an email response. And it's people are, some people are like, I don't have time. I'll get back to you in a couple hours. Well, I don't have time. But it's, dude, this is stuff that's moving quick. This is your job. This is the most, I need responses. We need to get this stuff done. And there's lock-in times. There's times to lock in. Like the week before an award show is not the time to be taking vacations.
Ooh, but did you just say the V word? Vacation?
Oh, man.
All right, I got to bring that one up because there was a time when you were like, I'll be on vacation. I was like, wait, what?
Bro, I took one vacation one time. And it's the first one I ever took in 3 years. And you're like, Mr. Vacation over here.
Bro, I've known you for 3 years. You've taken like 13 vacations. Come on.
I have not, bro. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, first of all, as a career musician, every week is a vacation. You're in a different location all the time.
That is very true. No, bro, I'm taking like 2, maybe 3.
All right. 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. All right, 5. That's my final number. All right. That being said, goodness. I'm super stoked. This is the perfect time to announce, Joel, you are going to be my new co-host on the Career Musician Podcast. Woo-hoo.
I'm so excited.
And we're rolling out a new format, the Jam Talk.
Yes, sir. We get to hang out, play music, do the thing we're good at.
The reason why I'm so excited about it is because basically you're going to get to hear our guests, you're going to get to hear them play and perform. And then also we're going to talk about all the topics that are important to us as career musicians.
Absolutely, man. All the things that sometimes in a regular Zoom format, it's easy to go off on a tangent. Like it's easy to get lost sometimes, but in the room together, everyone's playing and jamming. It really helps everything gel together, I feel like.
Here's our maiden voyage. Super excited. All you out there listening, be sure to follow, subscribe, and don't be lame. Share the game. I know you got friends and colleagues out there who need to hear this stuff. Send it to them, share it. And here's the bottom line. The more you share, the more musicians can find out about it. And it's important. Why is it important, Joel, that everybody knows this stuff?
Because if you level up the game for everyone, it just means better work for everyone.
Bam, that's it.
If you don't know what to ask for in a gig, if you don't know what things to look at, then you can wind up in a negotiating table and walk away lowering the bar for every musician, because now these people think they can pay less, or they have a bad opinion of certain musicians. And so it's so important. A rising tide raises all ships, right? And so the better we all get at working this business, the better the conditions are for everyone involved.
So true. Love it.
Tune in, subscribe, stay on this game, because it's just going to help you be better. It's just going to improve you and give you more opportunities.
Be safe out there on the road, my friends. And Joel, have a killer show.
Okay, let's fucking go, bro. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. Rock on.